It's a journey, it's challenging, but I think you learn from your errors. Right?
When it comes to finances, I didn't know what capital investment was. I didn't know any of that stuff. And so I didn't even ask my parents, or there was no talk about that.
Help comes in different forms. So even if it's a solo journey, I guess it's not.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of GEPic Journeys. My name is Rishika and today we are going to talk about all things small businesses. You know, in this day and age, capacity building has become a crucial factor. I think it's really important that we all maximize our capacities to create at least more than one form of income to ourselves. But actually the challenging question is, how do we get started? So today on the podcast, I've got three super talented and bold small business owners with me who actually took that leap of faith into starting something of their own. So before we get into the first segment of the podcast, let me just give a bit of an introduction to everyone. So our first guest is a social media queen and she's got a real eye for content editing. But the most interesting trait about her is that she is the original Chomty, known for the infamous Chomty dances. But apart from all of that, she is the proud founder and owner of Krasa, which is a boutique store specializing in boho chic jewelry. So, hi Anushka, so nice to have you on the show. I'm going to start calling you Cuckoo because that's how she's known among her loved ones. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how Krasa came to be?
Thanks so much for having me. So just a little bit about myself is that I'm 24 years old. I studied at Bishop's College. And I was one of those kids after school who didn't know what they wanted to do, so ended up doing a business management degree. But thankful for that. Currently, I work at a sports tech company, but how I started Krasa was back in 2018. It was right after my A-levels, and my mom and we started it together. So we were brainstorming on a few ideas on what to start. And my main reason to start it back then was to earn a bit of pocket money. Yeah, so we thought, okay, why not? We were going through a few ideas and thought, why not start an online costume jewelry store? And it's been quite the journey since then. But yeah, that was the main.
I'm sure we'll hear more about it as we go along. So the next guest I have today is someone who's got creativity written all over her DNA. She can bring anything and everything to life through her art, and we get to see that art and purchase that art through her store Marian makes. Hi Radhika, so nice to have you on the show. I'm going to call you Radhi.
Yep, sure.
So can you tell me a little bit about yourself and about your art?
Yep. So thank you for the introduction, Rushi. Yeah, so I'm 25 and I'm currently freelancing as an interior designer, but I also have Marian Makes running on the side. Marian Makes is the name of my small business, and I actually named it Marian because that's my middle name.
Yeah.
And Makes is kind of because, well, I love creating things, not just art, but even DIYs and just craft things. So I wanted to keep the name pretty versatile.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started Marian Makes in 2017. I went through, I did university and had that running on the side. It was a bit of a journey, but yeah, now it's up and running again, and that's pretty much it.
Thanks for sharing, Radhi.
No problem.
And finally, we have Lihini in the house. So she is a super talented baker, and she has actually turned her passion project into another source of income for her. And driven by that need for a creative outlet, she's now the founder and owner of Noms by Lilly. That specializes in most delicious little home-baked treats. So hi Lihini, so nice to have you on the show. Can you tell me a little bit about Noms by Lilly and how that reflects you as a person?
Yeah, of course. So hi, and thank you for that introduction. So I'm 25 years old, studied psychology, ended up working in training, and so it's been a bit of a mishmash of things. And yeah, I just wanted to, I think innately I'm a very creative person, so like you said, I wanted to channel that energy into something, and a small business seemed perfect because you earn a bit of income and you can also be creative. So after a lot of experimenting with selling my art, or selling photography like prints, or even bento cakes, which are like baby cakes. I want to do that. After a lot of experimenting, I kind of settled on Noms by Lilly, where I actually am able to sell smaller things like brownies, cookies, and it's an ever-growing menu. But yeah, so that's kind of how Noms by Lilly came to be, in terms of channeling all of that creative energy into something.
I'm so glad you went ahead with your baking because I love the cookies that you put out. So now that we know a little bit about each other and hope the ice is broken, we'll get into the first segment of the podcast. So in this segment, we're going to focus on the very beginning on how you guys actually took that leap of faith. Yeah. So my first question is to you actually, Kuku, is that how did you get into starting something and like what got you started?
Okay, so as mentioned before, right? So my mom and I, we were brainstorming on a few ideas, and we realized that there was a lack in the market for like a unique set of jewelry pieces, right? So we thought, okay, why not like going like towards that direction? And how we started it was a funny story actually, because we first introduced it to our immediate friends and family. Like we didn't even market it online, and they in turn like showed it to their friends. And then we realized, okay, the demand for it is pretty high. Why not just open up a page and see how it goes, right? So we first opened an Instagram page, and I mean, it's amazing to see how far it has come. We do have regular customers, and not only like within Colombo, but like outstation as well. There were two reasons why I wanted to start it. So like I mentioned before, quick way to earn money.
Quick pocket.
Yeah, and the second reason was because I was doing a business management degree, right? So I thought, okay, perfect timing, why not start a business as well? Because it would sort of help me as well, like with practical knowledge. But yeah, that's how I started, and it's been great.
Yeah.
It's a journey, it's challenging, but I think you learn from your errors, right?
Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing that, Kuku. And just to add into how startups work, one of the main concerns we all have is the financial aspect of it. You know, how do I finance? Because obviously there's a certain amount of capital required. So, Radhi, can you share your insight into how you financed your business when you first started out? Did you have any help? Or do you have another career going on that's supporting you for it? How does that work in your case?
Okay, so for me, it was like a similar timing to Kuku here, because I also started Marian Makes in 2017, so I was fresh out of school. I had done my A-levels, and somewhere in December was when I started it up. And honestly, I didn't have like really clear set, okay, this is how you run a business. I didn't have any backing business knowledge. I was just like a real creative person, that's it. So my idea was just to make use of the resources I had, which was I had supplies from doing A-level art and like the paints, the paper, everything. So I drew up a couple of designs, and I was like, okay, I want to make cards out of this. And I got my dad's help. He scanned it, and we found a printing place. So when it comes to finances, I didn't know what capital investment was. I didn't know any of that stuff. And so I didn't even ask my parents, or there was no like talk about that. But when it came to actually printing that first set of Christmas cards, my father offered to pay, and that is what I considered capital investment at that point. Because after he paid for the first set of prints, my mom bought, not all, but she bought a couple, and she helped like send it out to family and friends. So that helped me gain some exposure from that point. So I wouldn't say it was like a struggle, but that is also because I kind of didn't know what was like the behind of a business and how much work goes into it. But I started realizing that after like Christmas was done, I got some sales, that was great. And I was like, okay, I need to like keep this up. So I'll draw some like birthday designs and like anniversary, Valentine, wedding, all of that stuff, all those designs. But then I realized, okay, when I go to print this, I need to have enough money to afford the prints. So I was looking at bare minimum resources, and that's how I honestly started it up. I don't really tell this much to people, and like there's always the assumptions that, okay, I had all these settings, but it was back to the bare basics, just scanning, printing, that's it. Sell it, what I get from that. I didn't invest into anything else, like transport. My dad just like he drove me around to and fro. There was a lot of support from my family, so I'm not someone who's going to complain and say I had it tough like that. But it was definitely a learning curve for me, because especially when I had to print that second batch of cards, I had to see, okay, how many sales have I made? How many should I print in the next batch? What is practical? How much will I actually be able to sell out there? So those are the things that like came up for me, I guess. And yeah, lots of people actually don't talk about the initial money part of things, but yeah, that was.
But it seems like you had somewhat of a support system to get you on your feet for the first at least for the first few months of the business. And just to extend that same question to you, Lily, when you started off Noms, did you started it solo, but did you have support from your family or friends? Like, was it like a teamwork sort of thing, or was it something that you started and you sort of expanded over time?
I would say it's a solo venture, so it's just me kind of doing the baking, the marketing, the sourcing the ingredients and all of that. But I guess the support goes a lot like far back than when I first started Noms, because I mentioned I did a lot of experimenting. So back when I wanted to sell bento cakes, that was at a point where I had just started working in the corporate world. Not obviously, not all of us start, with like a great salary. So it was hard to fund that. And then at that point, my mom actually helped. She bought ingredients, cake tins, coloring, all sorts of stuff that I needed at that point. And so she helped me in that stage, and I was able to experiment. I had a few orders. And but then I realized that wasn't sustainable. I couldn't, keep depending on her for that. And if I was to get serious about this, I would have to start funding it myself. So that's when I actually parked it, and I stopped it for like a year and a half. And then I got a better opportunity. So at that point, it freed up my time, because it was a work from home job. And and also the income increased a bit. So I was actually able to consider starting it back up. And so yeah, there's that support. So I am not financially supported anymore, but she supports me in different ways. Like baking is notorious for you bake late into the night. Sometimes you pull all-nighter. So sometimes she's just there like half asleep. They are just like moral support. Someone else is awake-ish with me. And even like friends, when it comes to packing big orders, sometimes that's hectic. So I've had help in that sense. And even people just offering advice and like actual legitimate business advice, and even sometimes offering to invest in stuff. So help comes in different forms. So even if it's a solo journey, I guess it's not you don't have to do it alone. You just have to be open to that help.
So I'm so glad you guys shared it. So the main takeaway is, like, if you want to start something up, first thing you need to have is the passion, and just go for it. And then knowing that you've got to financially support yourself, and then like Lily mentioned, yes, it's okay to get help, but overall work towards becoming independent. So that sort of sums up the first segment of our podcast. We'll be back after a short break.
If you enjoyed that video, make sure to like and subscribe to the GEP YouTube channel. And we also have a bunch of very interesting practical short courses which are related to the episodes from the podcast. So stay tuned.